Hey guys, what's up? I'm back here for a quick tip. This one was submitted by a viewer. They wanted to know about how you can uncoil a rope in a way that is going to be the least amount of work and provide the least amount of tangles. So let's get started. Okay, so the true key to uncoiling a rope well is really how you set it up in the first place. So we all know the different types of ways to coil a rope. I even have a separate video on how to coil ropes if you're wondering on how to do that. But really there are a couple different ways to coil a rope where it may make it easier to carry the rope, but it won't make it as easy uncoiling the rope. Everything has a bit of a give and take. In this case I have a butterfly coil, a single butterfly coil with a single strand of rope coming off of the coil. And this is kind of the easiest way to get your rope from this coiled state and to lay it down in a way that it will feed off easily. So let me change up the camera angle and then I'll show you guys how I do it. Okay, so here I am with the rope on the ground. First thing I'm gonna do is undo all the loops. Yeah, and so here's the end of the rope after I undid the tie-off part. You'll notice how usually it's the rope that it's involved in the tie-off comes on one side of the coil, and then you have another side of the coil that would have the end of the rope in it. Or sorry, the other end of the rope. There we go. And so essentially, if you think about it like the tie-off part is the top of the rope, and then the end where you started coiling from is the bottom of the rope. If you just lay the rope down completely flat like that, then the rope that comes from the top should feed off very nicely from the end of the rope. And you can see how it's feeding off from this side. So I can always reorient this thing to here. If I was standing here and belaying, I just keep on feeding rope out and it just plays off the rope perfectly. And yeah, you don't really get any twists or tangles, and then your rope will just feed out really nicely. A lot of times I still flake the rope because sometimes, especially if the rope has been coiled for a long time, it'll get twists in it anyway, and so the flaking really helps just get all the twists out. But this is a great way to have your rope all set up and ready to go for whatever you're using it for. And you notice how it really doesn't snag too much on the other rope, and you won't get any knots coming up that you have to shake out of them or sometimes even untangle them. Alright, so on my back here I have the backpack coil. If you want to know how to do this coil, you can look at my how to coil ropes video. A lot of people will use this coil, and I use it myself as well. If I get to maybe the top of a climb with a long walk off, and we don't have like a backpack that'll hold the rope, and so like my buddy will take the rack, and I'll just coil the rope up in a backpack coil, and we walk back to the car with this setup. Which it's a useful coil in that sense, but the thing is a lot of people will coil their ropes like this every time because they feel like it saves time. And while it does on the initial part where you're coiling the rope, when you're trying to flake it out, usually you get ropes tangling on each other and then knots form, and it's just more annoying. And the longer the rope you have, the more annoying it gets. So more people nowadays are starting to bring 80-meter ropes on climbs with them, and so you can imagine how much of a mess I'll get into. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm only using a 40-meter rope. And so while it seems at first like this coiling is faster because you only coil half the rope, you pretty much lose that same time when you uncoil it in dealing with the mess it creates. So usually what I do is after I use this backpack coil, I will recoil it when I get down from the climb or the next day or whatever. Another thing is, if you want your backpack coil to be as neat as possible, you do have to go the extra mile. You can't just isolate 2 or 4 feet of rope in a tail and start coiling. I've found that you actually have to bring both ends together and then flake those both ends to the middle of the rope and then coil it from there. So by adding in that extra step of reflaking the 30 meters of rope, you can help keep this more neat, and it'll tangle up less when you uncoil it. But still, it's going to tangle a bit anyway. So if you want to keep your ropes nice and neat, then usually doing the single butterfly is the best method. Just figured I'd add this one in. Look at this big knot that I got from trying to uncoil the rope when it's in the backpack coil. This is the stuff that wastes all the time when you're trying to flake your rope. Yeah. And if you do use the backpack coil, definitely flake your rope before you climb with it. So there you have it, guys. This has been another quick tip video. I'm starting to do more of these with the coronavirus out. While everyone's just hanging out at their house watching YouTube because they have nothing better to do, I figured I'd just add in a few quick tip videos. So if you want me to make any more of these things, then leave a comment. I have a few more planned. They aren't gonna last too long. Releasing them in between my main long videos every Wednesday. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.